chiamatela Laura, chiamatela Laura, oppure potete chiamarla Laura Cox. La presentiamo e le diamo il benvenuto a Linea Rock.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Hi, Laura Cox. Welcome to Linea
Thanks
Rock.
a lot. Thank you for having me.
Great, so great to have you. You're such a hot new musician on the scene, so we're very happy to give you space on our program. We just saw the So Long video, which is a melancholic rock blues track.
Yes, kind of.
Torn between, doubts and the will to carry on and always moving forward.
Yeah.
Actually, the whole new album, which is your third, and it's coming this Friday, starting from the title, it's titled Head Over Water, delivers, in a sense, this kind of spirit. But is it meant in a positive way, or is it, some food for thought and a resilient reflection on how hard it is to stay afloat and keep going nowadays, being constantly under the gun?
Yeah, I think it's, like you said, it's maybe a bit of both. I think in the end, I prefer seeing this as a positive message, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. I didn't want to go too much into detail because I wanted to keep the topic wide so that a lot of people could identify to this and relate to this, because we've all going through some difficult phases sometimes, but we're all going out and then enjoying life again. So it's okay, just come in waves, and you're going to have to have better days. So whatever happens, stay strong. That was my message, and I thought it was a good title for the album and a good opening song.
It's also a strong image, the fact of having the head over water. Started as an image for you, or as a feeling, a sensation? And is music a kind of, perfect healer, the perfect escape for you?
I'm not sure if it's an escape. It's definitely a part of me. I think I don't know who I would be without the music. I'm so passionate about this. But I also think that the pandemic made me realize a lot of things, because before the pandemic, I didn't have time to think. I was on the road all the time, stuck in my little rock and roll bubble. Didn't really care about anything else. And I think COVID gave us a lot of time to reflect on ourselves. And now, I don't know, I see everything a bit differently. I guess I evolved, and I would say now, I don't know, life is not just rock and roll. It can be way more than this, and I guess that's what I learned these past months.
Are these songs pretty new? I mean, did you write them like in the last year or even during the lockdown?
Yeah. I wrote most of them. They're quite recent. We recorded the album last February, so almost a year ago.
Oh,
and
wow.
the songs were written mostly in 2021, I would say. In 2020, I have to say, I was kind of not inspired at all by this anxiety climate created by the lockdown. So I didn't want to force myself into writing, because I don't think anything good can come from forcing yourself when it comes to inspiration. So I let a bit of time pass. I went to Portugal to be near the ocean and kind of try to distance myself a bit from the music in order to come back with a fresher mindset. And I think it worked. And then all the songs came one after the other in 2021. A few I already had written maybe before the lockdown in 2019, but the vast majority of the album is really recent.
And how did it all started for you? I mean, was singing first or playing guitar? And you were about 14 years old, if I'm correct.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So for me, I think I always see myself more as a guitarist than a singer. This is my very first passion. And of course, I like singing, but I think it took me more time to see myself as a singer. It's like I didn't really feel legitimate to do this. I was kind of playing guitar and thinking, okay, but I have to sing because I decided to be the front woman. So I'll try to do everything, but I was always more passionate about the guitar. But now I'm trying to put the two skills at the same level, because a lot of people are going to hear the vocals first, because, for example, people that are not really familiar with the instruments, vocals is the first thing they're going to hear. So I thought, okay, I really should take the singing more seriously now. And yeah.
And you started doing cover songs in a very personal, special way. Was the idea of making your own music there since day one, or it actually, developed through the year? Maybe you prefer to live it day by day, going with the flow of emotion where the music brings you?
Yeah, I think at the beginning when I started playing guitar, I was really comfortable just playing on my own. Not really, I didn't have any interactions with other musicians. I don't think it's a good thing, but that's how I was, because I was kind of introverted. And that's why I started by uploading videos on YouTube, because it was really convenient for me. I didn't have to leave my bedroom. I was locked. I could just re-record if it didn't work. And then still could get some feedback from people. So for me, it was a good option. And then I slowly started to thinking about writing my own songs. And years after, I thought, okay, maybe this is the right time to form a band. But this came late, I think, maybe 8 years after I started playing, so pretty late.
And when did you write your first song?
I think it was around maybe 2011, but they were not good at all.
Okay, I see. And if I tell you, Lzzy Hale or Joan Jett, AC/DC or Danko Jones, in other words, modern or classic stuff, or you approach classic the modern way? Are you in a sense the sum, the link, the best of both worlds, as Laura Cox?
Yeah, it's hard to answer your question, because in your two questions, the first I would take for sure Lzzy Hale, and the second AC/DC, because okay. I'm more judging by the Lzzy Hale. For me is the best vocal performer of that I know, so I would judge on the vocals. But yeah, like musically speaking, of course, the AC/DC, the classic rock, I think there's not a lot of things better that's better than this. It's the base of rock and roll, just two guitars, one drum and one bass, and it sounds huge. So I think I'm kind of in between, and for this album, I think I stopped trying to be too much influenced, because I've been trying to sing like Lzzy Hale for years, and now I'm finally realizing I'll never be able to do this. So I just let go of this idea and try to do it my way, and so no pressure. And I think it's better like this, to find my own style, my own approach.
And if you have to name your main influences, okay, Lzzy Hale is one of them, AC/DC, as you mentioned, but with your cover songs, actually you spread, all over, and you're doing everything, from Pat Benatar, Elton John, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Aerosmith, everything. If you have to name your main influences, the ones, that you got inspired more.
But so that's what's tricky, is that I love so many different things that it's hard to find like a coherent style in between, like my style, because I like everything from bluegrass and country to classic rock to hard rock to metal. So it's hard to find something that I love more than the rest. But I would say, I would say my main influences are a good base of rock and roll, like Lynyrd Skynyrd, Aerosmith, ZZ Top, definitely. And when I started playing guitar, the three people that influenced me the most, the three guitarists, were Slash, Joe Bonamassa, and Mark Knopfler. And I was really into the guitar hero thing. Now I'm more into the songwriting angle of this. And now I'm listening to more recent music, I would say, like Tyler Bryant or Larkin Poe, like new refreshing bands that I love, and it's making me feel really good, because there's a future and there's hope for rock and blues rock. So it's good.
And singing-wise, you named Lzzy Hale, of course. But if you had to name another two singers, would it be female as well or male as a main influence?
Maybe, or maybe it would be. I don't know. I would say maybe a male, like maybe Steven Tyler, because at his age, to be able to sing like this, I hope I can do the same when I'm his age. You know.
Yeah. Okay, so it's gonna be these two.
Yeah.
And Fender or Gibson?
Definitely Gibson. If I'm choosing Fender, Gibson is going to kill me. I cannot say this. No. I've been working with Gibson for a few years, and I'm really, really happy about this collaboration. My heroes are playing there, like Lzzy Hale and Slash and Billy Gibbons. So it's really an honor to be part of this family. And I can't wait to see what's next. But I like the fatness of the Gibson sound, you know.
So maybe one of your dreams is gonna be to have a signature model guitar from Gibson.
Yes. Yeah. Please talk to them. Put this idea in their head.
Okay, and about guitars, you are left-handed, but you play right-handed. So you're a sort of ambidextrous player. Something that happens so far already happened in the history of rock and roll, I know, but always surprises me so much. How did it happen, the switch for you? Was it spontaneous, and is it complicated, difficult, when you're left-handed to play right-handed?
No, I think because the left-handed people really have to adapt all the time. The world is not conceived for us, so we always have to adapt anyway. And for me, it was natural because I didn't force myself or anything. I thought, okay, my main hand is the left hand, and it was natural for me to have this hand on the fretboard. So this means that my right hand, rhythmic hand, is a bit slow. But that's the way I felt more comfortable. And I know a lot of lefties are also playing right-handed, like Mark Knopfler, Joe and Jet. They're the same. So yeah. I guess it's pretty common to do this.
And you also play banjo and bass. And you just told me that you also started to play drums. Mm-hmm. Being a multi-instrumentalist gives you like an extra edge, or makes it, again, more complicated, having a band and knowing to play different instruments, because maybe you want to put a word, you have a say on arrangements. And did it happen naturally to be a multi-instrumentalist? And next instrument on your list?
Next instrument, No, honestly, it's enough. I just want to be better at what I'm already trying to do, because and for me this is good, trying to open yourself to different instruments, because I think I'm not at the point where I can play drums on a record, for example, or bass on a record. I prefer leaving this to the professional, but just doing this for fun, at my place to record some little demos for YouTube is fun. And but in my case, I really think, for example, starting the drums is going to help my sense of rhythm on the guitar. I really think I can be better at guitar if I'm playing drums. I've already noticed that a lot of drummers who are playing guitar are really good. They have a perfect sense of timing and rhythm. So if I can improve this, I'll be happy.
A fantastic drummer, which is also a great guitar player, is Brian Tichy. I don't know if you saw some of his videos on YouTube. He's absolutely fantastic.
I didn't know he played guitar. I know him as a drummer, but didn't know he played guitar.
He does, and he always, he does Pantera, Van Halen, and he's always so good in everything he does. Yeah. Amazing musician.
I'll check. Okay. Because he's playing with the Dead Daisies, the drums now. Yes. Yeah. That's why I know him. But okay.
Do you feel that the rock beats is still down deep some way chauvinistic towards women playing, and being also basically French and not English or American? Could make it even harder and tougher for you to emerge?
It's hard to say. For example, in France, they're really pushing if you're singing in French, they have a number that they are pushing the artists that are singing in French on the radio, on TV and everything, because they want to promote French music. So I'm not in that case because I'm not singing in French. But I think when you're coming, I think it can be a strength too, because being a woman and playing rock and roll and being French, that's not a really rock and roll country. I think people are just curious, We've been going and playing, like touring in Germany, for example, and the people there in the clubs told me, but are you sure you're French? We never had a French band coming there before, and you sound like you're American when you're singing and your music. Yeah. So people are always surprised, and so I guess it's a good thing, and I'll try to push and continue this.
Did you always write in English, or you started with French before?
No, I always wrote in English because that's all I'm listening to.
Okay.
For now, I cannot. I know that a lot of French people are telling me, "Yeah, you're French. You should write in French," because they're really proud of our country. But I don't feel like this. I think it's really hard to write in French, and rock and roll is not meant to be French. So I'm really influenced by what I'm listening. So for now, I don't feel like it, but I'm not saying it's never going to happen. It's just that I don't feel like this right now.
Even though there was a huge band from France, which was Trust.
They still exist.
Yes.
Yeah, they're still touring.
Okay, so you can be on their wave. Maybe someday, maybe you can write also some songs in French.
Yeah, but usually, the rock bands, French rock bands who are singing in French, it's a lot of the time it's really political. They're talking about politics, and I prefer playing rock and roll like a bit lighter and like talking about not so serious topics. So that's why I think it's hard to sing in French. It's because you're either singing about politics and war and criticizing the system and everything, or you're it's like a really poetic, It's and there's not really an in between. So that's what's hard.
Starting on the web, you've opened your YouTube channel, your social media. That certainly gave you much control on your career in the beginning. Can this make the next step harder for you, reaching, the big market, and maybe have to compromise a bit because you have to listen also to some suggestions from record company or management? I don't know.
So I'm lucky that I'm in a rock. I'm assigned by a rock label. So for now, they always let me do what I wanted, and I think that's great because I'm not sure all the labels would do this. So for now, I've been pretty free, and that's really good. So like you said, I'm coming from YouTube where I had total freedom. And I don't feel like I'm trapped, with my label, and that's a really good thing. They are just like recommending, giving like suggestions, but I trust them, and I know they know what they're doing. So usually they have good ideas.
Okay, and about Ted Jensen, he worked with the Eagles, Norah Jones, Green Day, Eric Clapton, Muse. Huge names indeed. And he also won 16 Grammys, so it is a giant. How was to collaborate with him for you on your music?
I was really honored. So my label offered, they said, okay, we are thinking about this guy to master the album. And I checked, and of course I wasn't going to say no, because I have a lot of his albums in my collection, like Black Stone Cherry, Hailstorm, and the Stones, the Eagles, like you said. So this was really an honor. And what's great is that, so we recorded our album, he mastered it, and so we sent it. We sent him the files, and we still, when he handed back the files to us, the final versions, we could still recognize our tone, our sound, and our songs, but he just made everything come to life. It's like everything's sparkling more alive, and it's like us, but better. So it's really hard to explain. It's the magic touch,
Yeah, and did he put anything? I mean, did he give any suggestion or put any touch on the songs, or actually just worked on the files as they were?
No, he didn't modify. I mean, really strong modifications. It's he applied like his effects on the whole songs, you know.
Okay. You have a band, and the stage dimension is something you very much belong to, as I saw in your videos, the Rock Palace, for example. Yeah. You interact a lot with the guys and the girl in the band, the bass player. Why you didn't, consider starting this journey as a full band instead, that as a solo artist?
So I think it was were different steps. First, I thought that keeping my name would be a good idea because when I started the band, I already had a few millions of views on YouTube. So I thought, okay, if I'm keeping my name, we're not starting from zero. Maybe we can be a bit pushed because some people are going to think, I know this name, I saw her on YouTube. So we thought this would help. At the beginning, we called this the Laura Cox Band. Yeah. And for the first album, we released an album with the Laura Cox Band. And then after the first record, we removed the band because we noticed that a lot of people thought we were a blues band because this sound like a traditional blues band. And once in Belgium, a host even introduced us as the Laura Cox Blues Quartet. So this was horrible. But so we removed the band because it was more simpler. And I think by that time, people understood that I had my life project and I was not just doing videos on YouTube. That's for this.
And were the other guys happy for this choice? And are they some way involved artistically still in the music and arrangements?
They were, even without the band, when we removed the band on the title of the name, for the second album, it was just a question of title because everything was working the same. We were composing and writing the same way. The photo shoots were often the four of us. And now for this third album, I really wanted to do everything more by myself. And I was kind of a bit tired to listen to everybody. So that's why this new album has a different vibe. It's a bit less hard, more on the softer side, still rock, but I wanted something energetic, but not, I was kind of tired of yelling, So I wanted to do this by myself. And as I wrote most of it while I was away during the lockdown, I was not physically with the members of the team. So I wrote almost everything by myself. So this time the process was different.
Okay. And what kind of audience are you building up? Maybe through the internet, it's more immediate and easy to identify the type and range of people that follow you, of your followers. Yes. Do you have an idea or actually you get the best idea while you're playing live?
I think they seem to be quite the same kind of audience. Kind of the middle-aged men, but now what's good is that more and more they're bringing the whole family for the shows. So now the wife is coming and the kids, and so the audience is a bit more more varieties of people, and it feels good. And depending on the countries, it's different because I noticed, for example, it's in Spain, people are usually a bit younger and a bit more women in the crowd. When we are playing festival, of course, it's more wide too because people are not necessarily here for us. But I think the more the time is passing, the more we have women and teenagers, and it feels really good to widen a bit our audience.
Is there any song on this third album that is your favorite, or any song that when you recorded it, actually surprised you and became your favorite?
So I think so I have two different perspectives. I would say that I would my favorite songs are not the same if we're talking about the favorite song to play or the favorite song to listen to, because I think to listen to, I really love some of the softer songs like Old Soul or Before We Get Burned. I really love them to listen to, as the audience, as if I was the audience. But to play, it's more fun to play rock. So to play, I really had fun recording, for example, One Big Mess and Fever. It was like the rock stuff is fun to play.
Did you record in a proper studio, or you worked, from your homes, everybody alone?
No, we had the chance to be in a real studio, and a really, really good studio. The same studio where we recorded the previous album, so we know exactly what to expect. We were in Belgium. The engineer, the sound engineer, is really good, really professional and nice, and knows how to handle the band and talk to the artist. And the studio is nice with vintage gear. We have everything on site. And for me, it was a kind of reassuring to go back there, because I knew exactly what to expect. And we had the chance to spend 2 weeks there. And but 2 weeks is not so long. So I had to make a really precise schedule with the morning, afternoon, and follow this schedule precisely so that we were not getting late. But for rock music, I think it's better if you can play live with your bandmates and not just send files, because then it lacks a bit of soul.
And since you said that you wrote pretty much everything on your own, during the recording process, is there any song that changed maybe during the recording, or, while you were arranging it as a band?
During the recording, no, because we were really prepared, and as 2 weeks weren't that long, I really wanted to know what we were going to be recorded, because it's not like, in the old days where some bands were spending 6 months in the studio and unlimited time. This is not like this. So in the studio, no, not really space to really improvise. I prefer being prepared. And during the rehearsal, not really either, because I really knew what I wanted to hear. So, of course, the guys could make suggestions, and then we could talk about this. But everything kind of stayed in the same vibe.
Great. Mm-hmm. And what's next for you, Laura? Touring?
Yeah.
And which is a band that you will go on tour like tomorrow or tonight?
To open for, you mean?
Yeah.
A lot of bands. I would love to open. This has nothing to do with the hard rock scene, but for example, for Sheryl Crow, I would love to open for Sheryl Crow. She's been one of my role models. But so what's next is we don't have an opening for Sheryl Crow yet, but we have a tour planned. So for now, we are working on the new show, because in March we have a lot of gigs coming. So right now we just spent a days of rehearsal on stage in a venue to prepare this new show, because there's a lot of work to do, and we're not there yet, but we're going to be ready. So I think we're going to tour a lot from March to maybe the end of the summer, around late September. And I think I'll start writing for the next album, because I'm still really motivated and inspired. So I think I should take advantage of that mood.
How many new songs in the set list, and which will be the covers on the show?
So on the set list, new songs, it's hard to say, maybe 5, 6. Some were rearranged. The covers, I'm not sure if we're going to cover some songs, because now we have enough original material to not play covers. So we'll see. Usually I'm playing covers when we are inviting guests, because it's always fun to jam on covers. But and I'm not going to unveil the set list right now. So and honestly, it's not completely set. So.
Well, I was asking about the covers because you are very famous also for those, and also for the touch that you put to the songs. So maybe that's why maybe the people's gonna expect, to surprise them with at least one.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. If you think that's a good idea, maybe I'll think about this.
I think so. Okay. And last question for tonight. Do you feel, since this is the last video for tonight for Muse, this is the video we're going to end this interview with, do you feel wiser after this first, 10 years of artistic path?
Yeah, already 10 years.
Since you very, very first started, at a professional level.
Yeah, I think so. So I would say I've been on the professional, I'm living from my music. I've been living from my music since the end of 2017, so not 10 years, but still a few years. And yeah, I definitely learned some things. Now I can be, I think I learned the past months, I really learned how to take the project in charge and how to be a leader. I really hated this position. I don't like giving orders. I don't like saying no. And for me, it was really hard as a woman and mostly surrounded by guys that are older than me. Sometimes it was really hard to give my opinion if I didn't agree. But now I realize that the project had my name. So I could be nice and be honest. And I think that's what I'm still trying to do and learning, but doing this more and more, and it feels good.
Great. So thanks for your time, Laura.
Thanks a lot. Perfect pronunciation.
Thanks very, very much. It's been a pleasure. Can't wait to see you on stage live. I hope you're going to come to Italy as well.
I hope so. I'm sure.
And so, do you want to introduce the Wiser video for us?
Yes. This is Laura Cox, and you're watching my new single, Wiser.
Grazie. Ciao,
Thank
Laura.
you. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Have a nice night.
Thank you.
Ciao.